Hello, good evening, everyone. This is the LFC Transfer Room. We're joining you tonight on a Thursday about Europa League football. For once, I'm sick of talking. I just said just before coming on, I'm sick of talking about Europa League football on a Thursday night. It's nice to talk about something different. A little bit of transfer news about Ginacalo, Inacio. However, we're going to be talking about the Carabao Cup as well, going through against Bournemouth last night, despite the windy conditions. West Ham in the next round. Not many teams left in the next round, by the way. Then we're going to be talking about the Premier League coming up and the Premier League Player and the Manager of the Month awards, in which our player and manager are nominated for. First of all, we're going to go through the guys and see how they are. Tom, first time with you, with myself tonight. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, happy to see another win from the boys yesterday. So yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, cheers.
And Willem, I do speak to you on Spaces quite a while. This is the first time on streams we've been together, but quadruples on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get it by the end of the season because the Europa League, they'll probably call it the Mickey Mouse quadruple, but it's definitely on.
Luke, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, been busy, a lot of filming today, so all happy, all good, ready to crack on and thrash Luton at the weekend.
Exactly that. I think we've got definitely an easy game on paper coming up this weekend. I know there's not many easy games in the Premier League, but this one could be down as that. With no disrespect to Luton or likes of Sheffield United, for example, these could be the games where we get our goal tally up, and that's what we need to do in terms of when the Premier League's so close, and it's going to be so close at the end of the season when it's going at the moment. Goal tallies are massive. First of all, we're going to start with our first transfer news, and the only transfer news today that has come out today, and that is Real Madrid are set to battle Liverpool for Ginacalo Inacio from Benfica. We have been wanting a left-sided centre-back for ages, Willem, but we're still not going in there. Do you think we've gone a bit too late again on this guy?
I mean, yeah, because we could have gotten him last summer on the cheaper release clause as well. Then he signed a new contract where basically the release clause went up to 60 million euros instead of 45 million euros. So Sporting were already aware of us constantly monitoring him but not doing something about it. And basically, that was the first signal already. And yeah, we know how we are with these transfers. We don't really like to get into bidding wars and compete in them. So yeah, it does worry me on this particular player with this news coming out now.
Tom, it's the worst team to go up against, isn't it? Because we've lost out on Bellingham, lost out on Tchouaméni, lost out on many players to Real Madrid. And if Real Madrid are going to AS Diarra, that Real Madrid are planning a move in January for this player, is it a player now that we should write off and not bother even going into a battle with?
I won't go that far, but it's always a concern, isn't it, when you're in a transfer battle with Real Madrid? Like, they've got the money, they've got the prestige, they've got pretty much everything you want as a player, haven't they, to sort of go and play for. So, yeah, I mean, we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world, obviously, but when you're going up against them, it's always going to be a challenge, isn't it?
Do you agree with Lou? I mean, Bellingham's ripping it up at the moment, and it absolutely hurts my heart every single week watching him do what he's doing. I mean, he destroyed Barcelona the other day. I know we've got a brilliant midfield anyway, but it's still, that is the one that we missed out on. That's like missing out on your 1-2 love sort of thing. Is it another player that we could possibly miss out in January, do you reckon?
Possibly. I mean, we missed out on about, 15 according to this summer, but like Paul said there's no proof to it necessarily. I just think with us, we tend to be involved in every news story now with every player that, because of all the stuff that happened in the summer, we miss out on a lot of these players. And I just think this might be another one that it's down to rumours. I do agree with Tom to an extent. I think that Madrid right now might be the slightly more appealing thing for him, only because obviously it's Real Madrid. They're going to be there or thereabouts for the Champions League final. You've got players like Bellingham who are ripping it apart. And if he comes to us, there's no set guarantee he starts. Whereas I think if he goes to Madrid, Alaba's not getting younger. Who's out for a good few months?
Militao.
Is he out? Militao, sorry. Yeah, he's out for a long time. So there's a chance for him really to break into the team there. And we have draw. We have one of the best managers in the world and a great team. But I just think if you're a player of that age, Madrid might just be looking like the slightly more appealing project, so to speak.
In the summer, I think we were crying out for a left centre back. We were crying out for that backup to Van Dijk. We were worried that Van Dijk wasn't going to hit his best form. We were worried that Gomez and Matip are injury prone, as well as Konate being injury prone. Tom, Van Dijk's back to his best, isn't he? So it's sort of cushioned the blow a little bit, not getting the left centre back, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think he's looking a lot better. Van Dijk, he's looking more dominant, isn't he? It looks like he's sort of got a little bit of his sort of pace back as well. So I might look at the performance of Kwanzaa yesterday as well, off the back of several this season, to be honest. It does kind of negate the need for a centre-back. I do think we could do with a left-sided one just for the sort of balance of the team. But yeah, I think for me, it's not absolutely essential that we get a centre-back, like I said, because of Van Dijk and also because of Kwanzaa. And don't forget, Konate's still very young as well, so he's got a lot of years ahead of him. Matip will, you'd presume, be off in the summer, but yeah, I'd say we probably do need one still, but wouldn't be any need to sort of rush out, I'd say, yeah.
We've got to be very careful, haven't we, Lou? We've got to be very careful when we're treading on the ice and not to break through. If we tread on this ice long enough, it will break. And relying on Van Dijk to stay the best, relying on Konate to stay fit, Matip to stay fit, in the end, we're going to have to really just go out there and go get someone.
Well, yeah, we saw it in the 2021 season. We lost all three main centre-backs and ended up having to use Reece Williams and Nat Phillips as the partnership. So, one or two injuries and suddenly the whole thing falls apart. So, obviously, Kwanzaa's coming good, but then you've got to think Matip's probably not going to stay beyond the summer. Van Dijk's looking to his best, but he's a year older. He's starting to lose that little bit of pace. So, this money now that we get, and potentially money we get from a Salah sale, it needs to be invested in that back line because of the whole squad.
No talk of Salah sale just yet, my friend.
I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go. No. Stay by all means. But what I mean is, we do have to sort of look at that possibility that he does go, and if he does, the money needs to be invested on what is arguably the weakest and the oldest part of the pitch, which is our back four. It needs to be redeveloped.
It's in the exact same situation as what the midfield was in, wasn't it, William? I mean, we went to this midfield needing three, four midfielders. We brought them in, but we're still short. I still believe us for the DM position, but we shouldn't have to rely on a whole summer to make this happen. We should be doing this beforehand and making sure we're only bringing one or two players in now and then, so we're not having to rely on one big summer. This is why I think January could be very, very important. Should we go for Inacio in January? And if we can get him over Real Madrid, that'll play a massive part in next summer where we're not asking for 2 or 3 defenders.
I think it'll all depend as well on how these next up 2 coming months go, because if we get certain injuries in another area, then obviously I have a feeling we have the classic case of we will have about 40 to 50 million pounds for one player in January, if viewed as the right player, as the comment that we normally hear and get. And then if not, and for the rest, I'm at least assuming that they know for the summer they have this rebuild going on and that we're not making the same mistake as the summer before last summer when we needed 2 midfielders and didn't even sign one, bar Arthur Melo on a panic loan, obviously, at the end of it. So yeah, that's kind of more my feeling towards it, where I wouldn't be expecting too much for January if we keep the good run going. And if it is, it'll be at most one. It'll be one signing, and then for the rest, it will be the summer.
Having said that, Willem, what Paul says here, he says Kant says the reason why we didn't prioritise centre back in last window is the backup for VVD.
So
maybe the fans want Inacio more than Klopp. What do you think of that?
I feel like it's more one of them where it's probably Klopp will have said, let's see how he plays out the year and see if the risk does come back. I don't think if Kwanzaa wouldn't have performed as well as he did, we would have been seeing a lot more articles now already from journalists saying what centre back target should we be looking at in January, and that hasn't been the case because he's picked it up really well. But yeah, I think that's the gamble they took over the summer, which is saying let's see how Kwanzaa goes for it, and then we'll see if we need 1, 2, 3 in these next upcoming 12 months, because I don't think Matip's contract's getting renewed, and I don't know. We'll have to see as well what obviously happens with the rest of it. How Robbo comes back from the injury now as well. How Van Dijk plays out the rest of the season. So yeah,
the thing is as well, mate. The Kwanzaa may have worked, may have not worked. It's a big gamble, obviously, but waiting for the cheaper option with not going and get a centre back. However, Kwanzaa could still be a future star, even if we got someone else. Even though we still need that competition anyway. Van Dijk's not going to get any younger. He's going to be leaving at some point. Matip's also leaving next season. Gomez and Konaté have already said that's injury prone. We've got to keep these competitions up, haven't we? And we can't rely on Kwanzaa to be that Van Dijk replacement. Just that, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that.
We need two ideally, because if Matip's going to be going as well, it's all well and good signing one player to replace him, but then we've still got the exact same number of centre backs. And I was going to ask you, Damon, like if I said to you, extend Matip for another season, who you know plays well for the team, or lose him and then sign Inacio, who's a 60-70 million pound gamble. I mean, which one would you rather go for?
So that's tricky, that, because I think it's sort of been proved this season a little bit, but last season I think Matip dropped off a cliff a little bit, and I think that was a season where, like, you know, we've got to cut his losses here and just let him go when his contract runs out. So for me, I would let him go, and I think we need to start looking for the future, man. If we're building this Liverpool 2.0, we can't keep players hanging on. We complained about players being hanging on for too long before, so I don't think we should keep that sort of mindset, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
LFC Jen here, as per usual, put in £10 in. Thank you very much, Jen. She is putting towards the battle of Inacio, making sure we have all that money to go ahead against Real Madrid, and Jen is practically paying for that. We're just going to go through. Bring Kev back. Kev back is very, very soon. As Kev is coming back. Moo says here Kev has been sold to Saudi. Possibly. I mean, we need all the money we can if we're an Inacio. So carrying on then from away from transfers, and the only transfer news today, obviously, Tom. Last night we beat Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup, and we drew West Ham. There's not many teams left, though, is there? I mean, there's Port Vale, there's Everton, small clubs like Port Vale and Everton, and then the only big clubs left are probably us, Chelsea, and Newcastle. Should we be really winning this, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's ours for the taking now, really, isn't it? Like you say, whoever wins out of Port Vale and Middlesbrough, you'd fancy us. Everton, Fulham, you'd fancy us, and even though whoever wins Chelsea, Newcastle, it'd be a tricky game, you still put us as favourites, definitely, wouldn't you? So, yeah, I think we have to take this really seriously now. It's a massive opportunity, although it's not a major trophy according to some, like, still what you're in it for, isn't it? You're in it to win trophies.
It's a stepping stone, isn't it? It's a stepping stone for the rest of the season. This is why Pep Guardiola loved it.
Yeah. And yeah, it sets you up for the last couple of months of the season. So yeah, like I said, what football's all about, winning trophies, in it. It's all about them days out to Wembley, seeing your team lift the cup. Like that's what it's all about for me. So yeah, I'd love to see us win it, and we got a perfect opportunity in the Europa League and we to rotate, especially because we made such a strong start in the group. That's why you do your rotation. So yeah, for me, in the League Cup, we go as strong as we can from now on.
Lou, as Tom just said there, Newcastle and Chelsea have got each other. So at least one of those are going out. So we are probably favourites, and rightly favourites for it now. Man United, Man City, Tottenham, Arsenal all out. That final we should be looking at now in Feb. I think, is it late Feb normally, the final, and it kicks on for the rest of the season, and done it. So how big of a competition could this be for them for the further success in the season, do you reckon?
I have always said that in a season where you're in a transition, so just for example, we're obviously in a transition season because we've just signed a lot of players and we've lost a lot of players. I think the most important thing you can do in those off seasons is win a Carabao Cup just to keep the momentum going and to sort of keep things ticking along. When we won the Prem, my big concern was every trophy Klopp's won, he's done it in like a 2-year period. But if we were to then go 4, 5, 6 years without winning anything, it sort of puts a dampener on it. Winning the FA Cup and the League Cup 2 seasons ago was massive because, like I said, it kept things ticking along and it kept the wall of champions, or the trophy wall, constantly ticking up. Winning this now with these new players in this transition period would be a massive kickstart, and we've got a young team now who, for a lot of them, would be winning their first trophy, the likes of Kwanzaa. It'd be McAllister's first club trophy. Obviously, no, he won the World Cup, but it could be the sort of driving force to get them going even further. And seeing Van Dijk as well, for him to lift the trophy finally, it'd be a massive thing because he deserves that. So, yes, people will look at it and say it's the Carabao Cup, it's the Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever, what have you. it's still a trophy. And I completely agree with Tom. Trophies are the aim. You can't win the quadruple by dismissing one of them and getting rid of it. So they are all just as important as one another in that regard.
I know people asking about the Diaz situation. I think as Helio said, there is going to be a release of Diaz's father hopefully soon tonight. I think the head of the actual people that have kidnapped them didn't know about it, apparently, according to reports. So I think there's going to be a negotiation going on with the Colombian government, and let's all hope and pray that he is back tonight and he is back as soon as he can. Because it's, my heart goes out to Luis Diaz and the time that he's going out at the moment, because it's just absolutely probably the worst case scenario in terms of life and your mum and dad or your family. It's just the worst thing that can happen. Hopefully, it all gets sorted and Diaz's father does return as soon as possible. William, West Ham will be. I mean, Jamie says here, West Ham will actually be tough. They're not a push around. They beat Arsenal last night 3-0. I know Arsenal played a different sort of team, but still, they're not a pushover. But it is a perfect game being at Anfield for us to go on and then push on this momentum in it.
Is this the one? Are we still playing one leg and then just at home, or is it home and away as well?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the point as well where we have to play the away games as well, but that's the semi-finals. Then I'm assuming I got it wrong.
Yeah.
But I always get confused with the Carabao Cup, to be fair. West Ham are definitely no pushover. I mean, and knowing especially how the system is with the Carabao Cup, that straight after a draw it will go straight to penalties. Instantly, that's what they're going to bank on, obviously, because if they can get a draw and pens obviously is a lottery, then that's the best they can go. And I mean, they're still a team that won the Conference League less than 2 years ago and got to semi-finals of the Europa League last year, or quarterfinals, 1 or 2. I don't know. But, they still got very far into that tournament as well. So they are a cup who have a lot of experience in these knockout ties, at least now in these last couple of years. So I definitely wouldn't be counting them out, but we should obviously be beating them at home.
Lou, we were talking about before they came up, there's a possibility of like the Merseyside derby, possibly the semi-final, maybe the final. Port Vale and Macclesfield still in as well. So there could be an easy route to the final here. Not as easy as Man United's route last season, obviously, but I think we've already had an easier route. I think we've already had a harder route than Man United did last season as it is playing Bournemouth and West Ham. But should we really be eyeing our chances? Really eyeing our chances up on this final? Because, like Thomas said earlier, it really is ours to take it, isn't it?
It's the same as the Europa League. I think you look at all the teams in it. The next best, it's a toss up between Chelsea and Newcastle. My biggest worry, and like one of the comments said earlier, West Ham is hard, and these not smaller teams, but these slightly worse teams like Fulham, Everton, West Ham, they're going to think, right, City are out, Tottenham are out, Arsenal are out. If we can beat Liverpool, we might play Middlesbrough in the final. And, Swansea beat Bradford a few years ago to win it, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So any team can realistically do the final. Wigan won the FA Cup. I think it's something that we do need to really focus on, regardless of who we're playing. We just need to put a strong team out there. Chelsea and Newcastle, one of them's going. That's happening regardless. Fulham and Everton, one of them's going. That's happening regardless. So as long as we just beat who's in front of us, just beat West Ham, and then there's every possibility that we could get whoever wins Port Vale or Middlesbrough in the semi-finals. And As Liverpool fans, we should be looking at every final as we are going to be in that final because we have the squad capable of doing it.
I mean, looking at the teams that are left, I said Maxfield for some reason, it is Middlesbrough. Looking at the team that's left, really, the only one that scares me the most is Newcastle. I know Chelsea has still got the team and still a big team, but they're still not finding their feet, and they played us at the right time of the season, I believe, at the start, right at the beginning. We've found our feet now, and there's only Newcastle and possibly Everton being in there. I'm not saying Everton. I'm not bigging up Everton here, but being in Merseyside derby, we saw how we played against them the other week. We were poor against them, and there's always a chance there to lose, especially if we go away to Goodison Park. So, if we do get likes of someone like Newcastle or Chelsea next round, is that where our final is? Would you say? If we got Chelsea or Newcastle, if we win that, do you think we've won it?
You like to think so, wouldn't you? I mean, we've got a good record against Newcastle. I know they probably be the toughest team left on paper, but we've got a very good record against them lately. Obviously, Chelsea, we've knocked out, we've beat them in the final, didn't we, twice a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's definitely ours for the taking. The one that worried me, though, is Everton. I couldn't stomach a final against Everton. Even though I'd fancy us very much, it'd be a hard watch that. So I'd rather avoid that over anyone, to be honest.
I think London will avoid that, to be honest. Like lots of scousers going down to London on the same weekend. I mean, they will be up for that one, seeing that, and it'll be a bit. To be honest, it'll be a brilliant story for the city itself, being Liverpool Everton final. I know it's the only League Cup, but it'll be massive. David Klopp is Eddie Howe's kryptonite. He can't beat him. Not afraid of Newcastle. Well, we're seeing Newcastle now. I mean, there's only Newcastle that scored more goals than Liverpool this season. So I won't go into a Newcastle game and say, Jurgen Klopp's got a good record over this player. They're playing very well, Newcastle, especially in recent weeks. They've turned around their form. They're now at the 5th in the table now. They've pushed up towards the top 4. So they're definitely a team that, and they got to the final of this last season. I know they didn't turn up in the final, but they got to the final. So they've got that proven record of, look, they can get to the final. So I won't write Newcastle. I think they will beat Chelsea, but whether they away Chelsea or not, I still think they'll beat Chelsea. But it's going to be an interesting one. I think we just need to get through West Ham first, and then see, like the boy said, let's see who we get next. Before we do move on to a different topic, I want to make sure everyone does like and subscribe to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Get your notification bells on. We're live every single night at 7:30. Videos quite every day, if we can try and get it every day. Obviously, YouTube Shorts. We've got podcasts coming out as well. I'm recording the podcast sometime next week, hopefully. But yes, please make sure you like. It doesn't take long to just smash that like button, whether you're new or old on this channel. It helps us with the algorithms very, very much, and we can produce more and better content for you as well. So the manager of the month awards and the player of the month awards is something that is remembered a lot by, I say the players themselves going down the line. I mean, we talk about the Gerrard debate with like Scholes and Lampard. He's got the most Premier League player of the months. So these are big awards. Despite it only being a month, these are big awards when it comes to like debates later on in the year. Tom, we've got another Premier League player of the month award for Mohamed Salah is in the nominations. This guy is just getting better and better. I know he's getting older and older, but he seems to be aging like fine wine. So do you see him winning this one?
Yeah, talking about my mouth there. He's aging like a fine wine, isn't he? I think the way he's kind of adapted his game as well just shows the level of player he is. Obviously, he started off as sort of a very rapid winger, not too clinical. Then he's gone to just an absolutely ruthless goal scorer. But now he's adding the creativity to his game as well. He's got the goals and assists to him. So yeah, like I said, that's the sign of it. Just a great player that they can even adapt the game to when they're getting a bit older too. So yeah, doesn't surprise me. He's just keeping the goals going, isn't he? Get, like I said, the assists too. Just an output machine, isn't he? So yeah, never surprised me what he does. Just consistency, just relentless, isn't it?
I mean, consistency is absolutely key. What Mo does, he didn't play that well on Sunday, did he, William? But he still got the goal. He still created chances. So that's all he needs to do these days.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, for me, I think it's genuinely in time we need to start pushing the contract extension propaganda already, because I'm worried about the fact that he's already going to be down to a year next summer. Because I think we should be extending him still until he's about 36, 37. I'd even take 1 or 2 years of him being his lesser self towards the end of the contract, if it means we can still prolong as much of him as we're getting from him now. Like, he's just unbelievable. I think that we're getting to a point now where for us, wingers wise, especially modern winger wise, we're just running out of ways to describe how good he's been for us, because I haven't, at least in my lifetime, I have not, since I've been born since '98, I've not seen a right winger like Mo Salah in my life. Well, playing for Liverpool, because obviously Messi does exist. But yeah, no, like, he's just unbelievable. I just hope. Obviously, first thing I did this morning was vote for him in the award to get it. Didn't even look at the other nominees. I just thought, yeah, instantly get him in there. And yeah, he's just unbelievable. So yeah, I really hope we get his contract situation just sorted as soon as possible, so that's not something we're going to have to worry about in the next upcoming months.
Flowers, I think he finished 19th. I think it was in the Ballon d'Or.
11th.
Was it 11th? I thought it was 19th. Yeah. James, I don't know what you're on about here. 25 minutes I'm running any updates. I don't know what you're on about there. Please make it a bit more clear for me to give you an update on something. Mohamed Salah, again, I don't think it's been an amazing month for Mohamed Salah. Start of the month, I think he was fantastic. But I think towards the end, I think he's fizzled out in terms of performance. But his stats are still there, aren't they?
I made the comparison earlier. I think to go to that point, having Nunez there is only making Salah better. I made the sort of analogy that Salah's the lion keeper and Nunez is the lion. He's basically saying, right, you get out there and go, you run for me. And that's bringing the best out of Salah. He's got someone who's getting onto the end of his creative output, and he can also still finish himself. And like I've said to you before, Damon, that in the Salah, Suarez, Torres debate, I think Salah is the best one. And without any shadow of a doubt, he's just the best player, obviously up there with Gerrard, but that I've seen. And we're getting to a point now where we're running out of superlatives to give it. Like there's no words you can use to describe him because of how good he's been. He did tail off a bit, like you said, towards the end of last month, but I think everyone sort of did. Like the Brighton game and obviously the Tottenham game was a bit of a damper on things. But now with this run of form, he's got to this point where even if he's having a bad game, he'll still come up with a goal. He'll still come up with an assist. And they are the signs of the best players in the world. Ronaldo did it at Man United. He could be having a dreadful game, but he would still come up with a goal. That's the sign of the best players in the world. And that's why he's the age he is. And he's held in such high esteem that he is at the club that he's at because of how good he is.
Jamie, you need to be a bit more clear I don't know what update you're on about. I don't know if there's an update supposed to be happening or anything like that, or an update on any news. I don't know. Over the situation, I think that's the only thing that I can think that we need updating on, because that's an ongoing situation. Going on from Premier League player of the month, to manager of the month, William, the man himself, the Jurgen Klopp, the maestro himself. It seems to be working miracles every single season, no matter how many times he's left behind, no matter how many times he's let down in transfer window. He's had a decent transfer window this time, obviously, but he's left short again. He's still the man in it. He's still the man. He's still putting up a fight and still making sure we win title races.
Yeah, no, I mean, just the sole fact that he's turned around our whole midfield into basically a dead midfield from last year to now arguably one of the best midfields in the league, or maybe even the best. I wouldn't go there. We haven't got a DM. So, yeah, it's unbelievable what he does. I mean, obviously, at this point, I don't think it's bar a few of the idiots who were wanting him out last season. I don't think it will have surprised most of us because we know the miracles he's been working already for the past 5, 6, 7 years on let's just say a lot less of a budget and spending than his competitors. But yeah, it's just what a guy, unbelievable as well. He's another one that even though he's got a contract till 2026, I'd even extend him as well for another couple of extra years if we were really there. But I think in his situation, it's more to what he wants it by himself. I think he'll be 61 by then. He might genuinely just be fed up of being a manager, but obviously I hope not. And yeah, he's just unbelievable.
Again, this has been one summer. This has been one summer where he's had to rechange his midfield, and it's hard enough to re-alter a midfield as it is. But in one summer, it's just ridiculous, and for it to work as the way it has, obviously we've still got problems in the CDM position again because we're playing McAllister out of position. He's not a CDM, but however, we're still going forward. We're unbelievable. Soboslai is fitting him amazingly well. McAllister's fitting in okay. He's done all right at CDM, but he's still, it's still not that CDM that we need. Gravenberch has hit the floor running. Endo's done his job. I still think he was out of depth the other night last night against Bournemouth, and I think that's Premier League sort of level way. I think he's slightly out of depth still, but it's decent for the Europa League, and he was decent against Toulouse. So I'm happy where it is at the moment. We still need to improve, but Lou, it's a good signing so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, like you say, we've signed all these players in this short space of time, given the late notice of certain people leaving, like Henderson and Fabinho, and the contract expiry, like we've done so well to hit the ground running. And again, this goes back to, that people give FSG grief, and to an extent I agree with it, but the way that Klopp makes it work. That's the thing. He keeps it together, and regardless of what situation we seem to be in, barring the 2021 season due to injuries, we just seem to get through it every time. And we've signed 3 players for the value of Caicedo, and all 3 of those players have hit the ground running in McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai. And though obviously he's hit and miss, but we've done so well to be where we are now. And the fact that we're even in a title race discussion after all these wholesale changes is a testament to how good of a club we have, and how well, obviously, all the controversy to one side, how well it's run. You know, it really is astonishing that we are where we are.
The thing with FSG is, mate, I think it's just the lack of ambition. That's why it becomes with.
Yeah.
That's why we've had to buy these players in all in one summer, because we had that lack of ambition before. We wouldn't, we should have been getting rid of Ender, Milner a long time ago, Oxlade-Chamberlain a long time ago. But because we didn't want to spend on the midfield, we chose not to. We chose to hang on to them, and I'm glad it's worked out. It seemed to always do in the end, but it shouldn't have to be that way, if that makes sense. I think if we would have bought, say, Szoboszlai last season, or someone like Gravenberch last season, before I went to Bayern Munich, we was linked to him last season before Bayern Munich came in, and I did him in my top 10 signings, and he was in my number 8, Gravenberch. So, having said that, we could have still then made money for Bellingham this time. And instead, we used Bellingham as an excuse not to go get someone. We're waiting for Bellingham for 3 years. We knew what price he was. We knew that the contract they'd be asking for, but all of a sudden we're shocked. Like, I can't believe he's that price. You're not shocked at all. You were after him for 3 years. Every man and his dog knew the price of Bellingham. So we wasted 3 years of properly reconstructing our midfield over time rather than all in one summer. They've got lucky with it, by the way. They got lucky that Klopp is in charge, because this midfield wouldn't be hitting running a normal club. Because Klopp's there, because they've got a decent coaching staff, it's allowed our midfield to hit the ground running. So it's like Mercedes expecting Hamilton to go win the Formula One Grand Prix, the championship, when they're against the faster car in Red Bull. But Jurgen Klopp is Hamilton winning the championship with Mercedes, despite against the faster car. That's what Jurgen Klopp is seen to be doing. But that's no praise for Mercedes, if that makes sense. There should be no praise for Mercedes. They've got a bit lucky that they've got Hamilton. So I think FSG have got away with it this season, and they get away with it a couple of times, but they haven't got away with it a couple of times as well, where they didn't back them with an injury-prone season, and people blame injuries on that. We went into a season with 3 centre-backs, 2 injury-prone and 1 Van Dijk. So what are you expecting apart from injuries to the centre-backs and a massive crisis? You can't cry about injuries if you're going into a season with that sort of planning. And the Van Dijk one, that was the only one you can say, hang on, hands up, that was unexpected. But Konate and Gomez getting injured one unexpected. Matip getting injured one unexpected. Sorry, not Konate. We didn't have Konate at the time. And again, last season with the midfield, they let him down again. But they didn't get away with it. We missed out on Champions League football because of it. So I could praise FSG for a lot of things, and I still don't think they're the right owners in terms of ambition. I think they've run the club very, very well at times. I think they've done some great business ventures. I think they've done some brilliant stuff in terms of getting Jurgen Klopp in, Edwards. But for the future, I just don't think they're the owners in terms of ambition and wanting to push on every single year and giving Klopp the best chance to do so. So I don't think they've done it again this season. I don't think the lack of DM could be massive. I still think we can win the title. I've never not said that in my predictions beginning of the season was coming second to Man City. But I still think we can win the title because that attack we've got is unbelievable, and the way we're scoring goals, the way we're playing now, Szoboszlai's at the ground running. So I just think we can still win the title. Man City don't look all that, but if anything does hold us back, it's going to be the DM. That's what I believe, and maybe an injury. If we got an injury with McAllister, for example, we're knackered because it's Ender. I don't think Ender's that level of it's either Ender or Curtis Jones, someone like that at DM who can't play DM. And McAllister can do what he can at DM better than most, but we're asking for a lot of trouble. Going into this weekend's games then, Tom, before we do, make sure you like and subscribe. I think we're 3 points behind Tottenham, Arsenal second, Man City third. us fourth, but it's going to be. It looks at the moment like a far-away title shot, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it does at the moment, to be honest. I'd fully expect Tottenham to drop off, to be fair, though. I think they've got a few tough games coming up. So for me, I'd still discount. I know it's hard to discount them right now, but for me, I just cannot see them lasting, to be honest. I think it's a 3-horse race. But yeah, we've got some good fixtures coming up, haven't we? So really do hope we put a good run together in our next 5 or 6. Then you come round about the Christmas period. If you're still up there at that point, then I think you're definitely serious title contenders. So yeah, going back to that point, just on Klopp, how well he's done. I don't think he's got anywhere near enough credit for the midfield transformation that he's done. Obviously, when you think of Fabinho, Henderson, they was integral, weren't they, to what we achieved. And to lose them, and to the young players as well, don't forget, like Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, McAllister, they're all young players. For them all to just gel like they have done is just absolutely exceptional coaching.
Having said that, mate, how do you think we'd have done if we still had Fabinho in there? Bearing in mind he started hitting form a little bit towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? He obviously got a lot of criticism last year, but I think it's easy to forget that nearly everyone dropped off last year. It wasn't just Fabinho. And don't forget as well, he's only, 28, 29 still. He's far from being old, especially in that position. So, yeah, you never know, will you? But it's kind of interesting as well when we're lacking that sort of player right now, aren't we? Although we've done really well with McAllister in there, we are sort of lacking that proper defensive midfielder. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But, yeah, going back to the point, yeah, I do fully expect us to mount a title charge this season with how well that midfield's gelled. And like you said, Van Dijk getting back to his best is crucial as well. So, yeah, expecting us to be in there with Arsenal and Man City come the end, yeah.
Looking at this weekend, Lou, there's a chance for us to at least catch Tottenham. Arsenal have got tough fixtures. Tottenham have got Chelsea on I think Arsenal got Newcastle, on Saturday. I'm trying to think now.
Yeah,
have a look, but I think Man City, again, have got an easy fixture in Bournemouth at home. I can't remember Man City ever playing a hard game.
Man City.
Not this season, apart from what they lost to Arsenal, lost to Tottenham, didn't they? That's the only hard game they played.
No, I mean, City lost to Arsenal.
United have Fulham away, City have Bournemouth at home, Arsenal have Newcastle away, and Spurs have Chelsea at home.
So Arsenal, that's a very, very tough. I think that's Saturday night. Is that Saturday afternoon? I'm thinking 5:30.
Saturday. Yeah.
So that's a tough game for Arsenal. Tottenham, I know Chelsea are not that good at the moment, but it's a derby. It's always a feisty game.
Chelsea show up in the bigger games. I don't know if you've seen it so far, but they turned up against us. They've turned up against Arsenal. I wouldn't be surprised if they turned up somehow against Tottenham on Monday.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where a red card is in it. It's always a feisty game in Tottenham Chelsea. I always go back to the time when Leicester won the title, and that was the game that won Leicester the title. That had about 100 yellow cards in it. So it's one of those derby games where anything goes, and I still think Tottenham will win. Don't get me wrong, but we should have 3 points in the bag this weekend, Lou. So having said that, should we be catching up Tottenham and Arsenal this weekend?
We should. I definitely agree. Luton should be a win. I think I saw a stat or something today that was no 3 sides that have been promoted into this league have got such a low points tally at this point of the season. So realistically, this is the best time to play them. When we're saying, though, that other teams could slip up, obviously the Tottenham game, we were robbed. We all agree on that. That's fine. But then City lost the next game to Arsenal, and then we draw against Brighton. We've had opportunity to catch up. We just need to make sure that we just focus on our game and not too much worry about what goes on elsewhere. Because I feel like when other teams have dropped points like City and like Arsenal, that's when we seem to be losing or drawing games. And Luton should be a win, definitely. But like you say, Chelsea turn up for the big games. Tottenham have beat Arsenal and Manchester United, so that one's a bit of a thriller. Arsenal, Newcastle, that could go either way. I think in their last results, I think it was Arsenal won the last one, and then before that it was Newcastle or vice versa. So there's no way of knowing. As long as we just focus on who's in front of us, beat Luton, and just let the other teams sort themselves out. But at least 2 of those teams are going to be dropping points as out of Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, Arsenal. So there is a positive to take from that.
And Paul says, I had last month I had David's suggestion we should shine Amrabat. I don't know where you got that from, because Amrabat was probably my not even in my top 10 and centre defence midfielders I was looking at.
Someone
In
find
fact,
the stream.
Amrabat-
I'd have a look at that. Go back on my articles because he was not one that I even wrote about. So.
He's not even that bad of a player, though. It's not his fault, though, that Ten Hag's
No,
got
that's what,
the tactical
I'm going to
insight
address
of
that as
it.
well, William. I'm
Yeah.
going to address that because he's not that bad of a player. He's just gone to Man United. And I think Man United at the moment, it's a bit like Chelsea. They're ruined players. I mean, Caicedo was unbelievable last season for Brighton.
I mean,
He just turned shit
I'm not being
overnight.
funny. I wanted Mount. I won't lie. When Mount was up for sale, I wanted Mason Mount. Now I wouldn't touch him. So
Me and Damon had very vocal Twitter spaces about not wanting Mount. So,
But
okay, we're not getting
I
to
mean,
that
everyone's gonna get things wrong now and then. I think after his work, the last time I said something good about Amrabat was his World Cup performance. How good he was in the World Cup. I think he impressed me then in that. So that's the only time I really praised Amrabat in terms of getting him for Liverpool. But last month, if you're talking about last month, I was talking about Lavia, Caicedo. I was talking about André. I was talking about Kone. I was talking about Thuram. They're the players I was talking about. Go back on my articles. Go back on the streams. It's up to you. Got plenty of evidence there, and I'll hold my hand up if I said Amrabat. Then fair enough. But I don't remember saying Amrabat in the last month. Certainly not. Having said that, I still think there's a player in there. Exactly the same, and I say the same about Anthony as well, because I think Anthony was unbelievable for Ajax, by the way. I don't think his attitude is right for this league. I don't think his attitude is right for a top club, but I think under the right coaching, I think he'd be a good player. I don't think he's a nice person, so it's all about the coaching. I mean, go back over the years, look at Shevchenko at Chelsea, probably one of the best strikers in world football, and he went to Chelsea, and look at him. He was an absolute shadow of himself, so...
back in the day, Diego
Falcao as well.
at Man United as well.
Yeah,
Paul-
Falcao when he went to United.
Paul makes a point here. Most of us wanted Lavia, Amrabat, and Mount. Not many of us wanting Gravenberch. Go back in my article 2 years ago, Paul. I had Gravenberch in my top 10. 2021, December 2021. I had Gravenberch when he was at Ajax in my top 10 most signings for Liverpool. He was my number 8. I put it in the chat. It's all there, my friend. So, going on to this weekend, then, Willem, do you see Arsenal dropping points at Newcastle? Do you see Tottenham getting anything against Chelsea on Monday? It looks like another standard Man City win on Saturday against Bournemouth. Is it setting up, like in the next couple of weekends, knowing the fixtures that we do, is it setting up for Man City Liverpool title race once again?
I'd say it's a bit right now with the points where we're at, and just out of the table is right now it's 4, obviously. For all we know, City could have one of those games on Saturday where just they do everything right but they don't score, because they've had a couple of them as well where it just doesn't happen, and then for all we know, Bournemouth will run away from the Etihad with a 1-0 win. I doubt it'll happen, but it can happen, obviously. And there are still moments as well from this year when I look at City compared to last year and the year before, where I do think they are slightly weaker than what they have been in the past couple of years, which I do think will benefit us, but it also benefits Arsenal and also benefits Tottenham if they manage to pull themselves along with it. Now, about the points being dropped on Saturday, looking at all the games, I think Newcastle, Arsenal, I could see Arsenal dropping points. Though I'd probably say a draw. I don't think Newcastle will win it either. But I mean, points drop to points drop, which is what we need. The one I literally can't lay a finger on is Tottenham-Chelsea, because I don't know. I still have this view of Tottenham in my head where, Tottenham playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea win. Easy. It's going to happen.
I think Tottenham at home. I think Tottenham. I'm not certain.
Is it at White Hart Lane as well?
Tottenham.
I mean,
I think it's Tottenham Stadium. I think it is.
To be fair, let's be honest. It didn't really matter whether it was the Bridge or White Hart Lane. Back in the day, Tottenham would barely ever win from Chelsea. So that's kind of more where my feeling's still coming from it. If you look at it on paper, Tottenham should be winning easily on Monday. But
it's a typical
really
game
out.
for Tottenham to be Spursy, isn't it? It is a typical game for Tottenham to be Spursy. Chelsea not looking good at all. Tottenham finally turning the corner, and all of a sudden they lose.
Yeah,
it's just a typical Spursy game. Away the lads. Hello, Mr. Geordie. How are you doing? I hope to see you in. I don't think I hope to see you in the final. I hope we get knocked out at some point before we do. I hope to see Port Vale in the final of the Carabao Cup, if I'm very, very honest. But it's nice to see Geordie today after last night. You did us a big favour by putting a smile on our faces last night. Obviously, our own team had put smiles on our faces, but it was even better when you humbled Manchester United in their own ground. But it's for the second time running, by the way, because they got humbled again on Sunday. 3-0 twice. And again, if you want to do us a favour this weekend, please do. I mean, you are in the top 4 race, fair enough, but I'm looking at the title rather than the top 4. How come nobody's talking about Bukayo Saka is being shite this year overrated? Bukayo Saka is not overrated. Let me get this straight right now. He's one of the best young talents in world football. And back when Arsenal was not fighting for the title, I wanted to get him for the Mohamed Salah replacement. He was my number 1. And he might not be the best of seasons this season, but last season and the season before, he's been unbelievable. This guy's a young lad, by the way. He's going to get inconsistency at times. He's going to have spells where he's not going to show up like Odegaard's doing, for example. And bearing in mind, they've still not got a proper striker.
In my opinion, Odegaard's been way worse.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, the sky's the limit for Saka. And I think if Arsenal again improve their squad, get someone like a proper striker up front, he's even going to improve him even more because he's got everything that a top player that needs. He's got consistency, he's got ability, he's got confidence. I'm not having any that is overrated discussion with Saka. If you want to put that when you're on here, Paul, about Saka, you're going to make that point and tell me why he's overrated, but I'm not believing that. I think there's a lot of people overrated, and they're normally playing the red half of Manchester, so it's not Bukayo Saka. Tom, Luton on Sunday. Everyone's going to say this is going to be an easy win. Are we really going into this with the wrong attitude? Is this going to be an easy win, or can Luton actually surprise us?
I mean, the golfing class couldn't be much bigger, could it, really? I mean, let's face it, they are a championship club in the Premier League, aren't they? Probably even less than championship, to be honest. They League One, League Two, size club, really, aren't they? Not great players, but you got to respect them. They've done very well last season. It's tight ground, isn't it? It's very small ground, fans very close to the pitch. Be a mega atmosphere in there. So, yeah, you'd like to think the golfing class will show, but the Premier League, anything can happen. So you got to be still 100% focused to make sure we come away with the win. And like you said, in the title race, you can't afford to be slipping up in games like this at all, especially when you're coming up against Man City. So, yeah, need to be 100% focused. But if we are, then you'd fully expect us to be coming away with the win.
I mean, if we slip up in this game, mate, there's no title race for me. If we just slip up in this race, there's no title race at all for me. The Luton fans near to the ground, obviously, it's so close to the ground. They'll be happy that Henderson is not playing this year because the ball would be hitting their windows quite a lot with how close the pitch is to the ground. So they'll be thanking the Lord that Henderson has chosen to go to Saudi Arabia, and it's now Szoboszlai who can hit the ball. Arsenal will lose and Chelsea will win. That's a very good prediction, that, because in terms of Liverpool, it is, because we're going to catch up on them after them beating Luton. It's going to be a testing weekend. I think it's going to be a very momentum weekend in terms of the Premier League title race, because we talk about it being a four-way, but if Tottenham and Arsenal not played that many hard games, they've had a couple, but not as much as us, and Man City is starting to get them every now and then as well. But this weekend is a chance for them to drop points, and if Man City and Liverpool win, could they then set the precedent, Willem, of that? It's us two again.
I mean, definitely it could. I mean, there's someone saying in the comments as well, which is the feeling I have from it, is we shouldn't also underestimate the game, because did last year when we beat United 7-0 and then we lost to Bournemouth next weekend. That's the one from Paul, because it is true. And to be fair, on my feeling with the game, I have a feeling we'll win. But you know how 2 weeks ago against Everton, until we got the penalty, those were some of the most dire 70 to 75 minutes of football we've seen this season. I have a feeling that's probably going to be the Luton game as well. But then we will pull out the bag, and I reckon it's one uncomfortably close, but we'll still end up winning.
Kebab says here, are the André personal terms agreed? Reports true. It's just reports at the moment. Obviously, what André said the other day looks promising, because he pretty much said, "Look, I wanted to go to Liverpool, but I'm staying here." So I think that André one is definitely one to look at in January, and I can see him wearing a Liverpool shirt next season. Next season at the most, I think it'll be January. Honestly, I think the André one's pretty much done, because that we have definitely made contact with this guy, and just what he said the other day, I think it exposed quite a lot in terms of his desire to join Liverpool, and it basically said Liverpool, didn't he? He basically said that Premier League club, and that he wants to join them, but he's just waiting for the right time. He's got the Copa Libertadores final coming up, so he's got to stay with that team. He owes that team, to see it out with them and see what they can do. And then the season finishes, obviously, for Brazil over there, so it's the perfect time for Liverpool to go in for him in January. Lou, this weekend we see Man City against Bournemouth. I mean, we've just beaten Bournemouth last night with pretty much a second team. Obviously, we saw Bournemouth beat us last season. And Bournemouth seems to be that team that can be hard to play at times because Solanke up front is not. I know he plays for Liverpool, he wasn't that amazing at Liverpool, but he's quite a clinical player. If Bournemouth were to get a result against Man City, would you put Liverpool title favourites?
It's difficult because it's City. Obviously, we know how good we are, but it's Man City. They've won 5 of the last 6. They've broke every record known to man, essentially. I don't think it makes us favourites. I just think it increases the odds of us winning it just ever so slightly. Like William said before, you can get at City, but I just think this Bournemouth side, if it was under Gary O'Neill, I could picture them sitting back and nicking a late winner or like a 1-0 from a corner or something. But the fact that it's Aurelio or however you pronounce it, I can't remember. Aurelio, I don't know where I'm getting Alario from. Yeah. I think that's the Chelsea keeper.
It's a back name. It's they're really
it's really yeah. But like the fact that he wants to play this counter-pressing system and trying to dominate the ball, which every manager seems to want to do now. If you do that against City and when you don't have the personnel to back it up, you're just going to get thumped when you leave that space in behind. And they've got no Tyler Adams, who was their key signing in the summer. They've got a severe lack of depth at the back. There's no Lewis Cook, I think. So it's easy to dream. Wolves did it not too long ago, but I just think this Bournemouth team currently, it's just not looking promising.
We still must focus on Sundays, though, mustn't we, Tom? We must focus on Sunday's game and getting that result against Luton. No matter what Bournemouth do, no matter what Arsenal do on Saturday night, no matter what Tottenham do on Monday, Liverpool need to get them 3 points. And we've obviously said Luton could be it's a new team. It's a new team because we'll come against Luton, not even in the cups. So, but I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise how they're going to set up. They're going to try to defend. What formation would you go with? What team? Sorry, would you go with Jurgen Klopp? Would you stick with the one that's been working with them? Would you go with Matt Gravenberch, obviously, Thomas Line midfield, or would you turn it around a little bit? Would you mess around with the team a little bit, being at Luton?
No, I don't think you change the winning formula. I think we stick with what we're doing. Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch. Could definitely afford to play McAllister in the 6 for this type of games. It's perfect for this type of game where you got a lot of the ball. But like I said earlier, it is going to be tougher than people think. I think, don't forget, it's probably going to be one of their biggest games in their history, isn't it? So they're going to be banged up for it. We've got to take care of our business. I wouldn't be expecting anything from Bournemouth whatsoever. I'd be surprised if it was less than 5-0, to be honest. So I think the Geordies could do us a favour against Arsenal Saturday night.
Would you be disappointed with less than 5-0?
Yeah, I just can't see anything but an absolute drubbing in that one, to be honest with you. But yeah, like I was saying, I think the Geordies could do us a favour against Arsenal. They'll be bang up for that Saturday night game under the lights there. They'll be right up for that one. I don't think Arsenal have been clicking quite as much as last season. I think there's something not quite right there. So yeah, I think Newcastle could do us a favour. Bournemouth won't. But like you said, as long as we do our business, just focus on ourselves, we should get the job done.
William, I think it comes into games like this with the Liverpool thing. I think it's more of a case of who do you put in your FPL side? Because for me, who do you captain as well? Obviously, people will be captain Salah, but there's some players out there against like Jota, Nunes, for example, that will be getting captain this weekend just because it's Luton. So with Diaz's situation going on, Jota's a nailed-on start really on the left, and then obviously, but did Gakpo do enough last night to prove himself as well on the left?
I don't think Gakpo will play. I think he's going to keep Núñez starting in the Prem games right now as well, because I think on the long-term plan was anyway that Núñez is going to, throughout the season, is going to be our starting line more and more clearer. And I think you can already see it by as well how many amounts Cody Gakpo played last night coming off the injury as well, because that's the other thing that Jota isn't coming off the injury, but Gakpo is, and like Gakpo's already playing that many amount of minutes, which in my opinion means he's dead on not starting on Sunday.
Well, according to James here, Gakpo did play really well yesterday. I think he did all right. I don't think he pulled out trees, but he played from the left. Did he play from the left yesterday? Didn't he? He played from the left-hand side yesterday. So there's a chance for him to play on the left-hand side this weekend, Lou, with the Diaz situation going on. Jota, but every time Jota plays, despite his performance not being amazing, every time he plays, he scores, doesn't he? So it's hard to drop Jota for Gakpo at the moment.
Well, I just, there's a video coming out soon, the starting 11 prediction on the channel. Make sure everyone watches that. A bit of a shout out there. I said that I don't think Gakpo does start because Jota has been so good on the left, and I don't think Gakpo, he's come from PSV where that was his preferred position, and he's trying to adapt to the way we want him to play. And I don't like... Jota, for me, has finally found that form of when we first signed him. And I think taking him out the team now, even when Diaz comes back, I think Jota should be the one to stay in that starting lineup for a little bit.
That's a big call, that.
It is a big call, but I think, Diaz, there was question marks over his form before, obviously, everything went on with him. Jota has come in and proved himself, and I think the worst thing you can do for Jota now is to just drop him the minute Diaz comes back, because to him, that's a signal of you're not as good, you're not first choice, whereas it should be a case of everyone can compete for every spot, obviously barring Mo Salah because he's God. So I just don't see Jota getting dropped, and I don't think it's that Gakpo didn't prove himself against Bournemouth. I think it's just Núñez overproved himself, and that's what's keeping him out of the team at the moment.
To be fair, with Jurgen Klopp, though, it's hard to predict because Gakpo didn't really do much to be dropped when he got dropped. Núñez didn't do much wrong to be dropped when he got dropped. When he came against Newcastle and he scored 2 goals, but he still didn't start the week after. So... With Jurgen Klopp, I think he's spoilt with the forwards he has, but it's about picking the right one going into the right games, I think this weekend, I think he could take a bit of chance with playing like Gakpo, for example, and get him some minutes, see if he can get his form up. But does he want to keep with his best formation against, even though it is Luton, do he want to keep the best team out there and just keep this momentum going?
Yeah, I would for in the league right now, because as we know, going up against City, every point matters. So I don't care whether it's Luton, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Arsenal. I'm putting out my best 11 anyway because I want us to go for the league. Plus, I mean, that's the only benefit from us having Europa League instead of Champions League this year, where we are, without trying to sound arrogant or anything, but we are clearly better than a big majority of the teams in the Europa League, which gives us the luxury as well to really make sure that the other players who normally don't start play a lot as well. I'm all for having Núñez starting up front and Jota on the left and Salah down the right for Sunday.
Having said that, Moose, was about Sobo being a step behind last night. I think it really does show that we haven't really got that amazing depth in midfield. Having Sobo play last night, he should. I thought he would play last night because we haven't really got anyone else, but maybe Harvey Elliott. And Harvey Elliott for me is not midfielder. Harvey Elliott did play last night, but he played more right hand side. So Soboslai playing last night for me exposed that our midfield isn't that amazing in depth. So this is why it's so important to keep Soboslai fit. It's so important to keep McAllister fit because if one of them gets injured, we're in trouble. Apart from the left hand side, saying like Thiago coming back, Curtis Jones can play there, Gavin Birch can play there, Matt can play there, Thiago play. But the right hand side, we haven't really got much apart from Elliott and Soboslai. And Elliott, for me, I'll keep having this argument with people that Elliott is not a midfielder. He's a number 10, and at worst is a right winger, but he's not a centre midfielder. I just don't think maybe against the lower league teams he can play centre midfield because it's just the opposition. But was it a mistake playing Soboslai last night, Tom? Or do you reckon is it just keeping him going?
Yeah, not for me. I think he's shown how robust he is, hasn't he, already? Like, when it gets to the last stage of the game, he's still pressing, still just looks as good as he did in the first minute. So, yeah, for me, I think he's a bit like Salah in the way Salah just always plays, doesn't he? I think Szoboszlai is similar to that. But I wouldn't be completely against playing Elliott on Sunday just because the calibre of the opposition. I do agree with you that he's not a midfielder, but if you are going to play him in midfield, this is the type of game to do it. He has got very good quality on the ball, and I do think he's made a big difference this season whenever he's come on. So he probably does deserve a start in the Prem. So yeah, I wouldn't be against it, but for me, I'd just carry on playing Szoboszlai and give him a rest against Toulouse in the week where I'd make wholesale changes in that one.
Willem, would you see this as an opportunity for like playing like Endo, possibly, and pushing McAllister a bit further forward? Just seeing, what we are missing. Yeah, sorry, Willem. Yes, you, mate. Just seeing what we can get out of McAllister going a bit further forward, because we've not seen that this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also could. I don't think he will. I think more as well because he's got the idea of playing McAllister in the deeper role throughout the season that I don't think we'll see him push further up right now. But I don't think that's something more that if André does come in January and we do, or if not, if we do end up signing a DM in next summer or whenever it is, then maybe we'll see McAllister being played further up front. Right now, I don't think so. So I think it's either McAllister will play in the 6 or Endo will play in the 6. And then if Endo plays in the 6, it probably means McAllister's getting benched.
That's a tough question, that, Paul. I'm more confident in terms against Luton. I'm more confident in Endo because I think he can play these lower sides in a 6. Luton's probably the worst in terms of Premier League to come against, but Jones in 6 does not give me any confidence at all. I mean, Jones played in 6 in the preseason friendlies, and I had no nails left. I had no fingers left. I was right down to the bottom of my fingers. So I don't want Jones at 6. Jones is more of an attacking midfielder. But I would be open to Endo on Sunday, and only Sunday. I think that and Sheffield United in the Premier League, they'll be only open to Endo starting. Other than that, then we just got to go with McAllister at 6 because we've got literally no one else that can play there. Thiago's injured. I don't even know if I count Thiago as an option anymore. Bajcetic again, still waiting for Bajcetic. So I don't know what to make of Bajcetic at the moment because that keeps moving on and on and on. And that it just seems to be not coming back like Thiago. Thiago is just going to be a tricky one. He's going to get setback after setback after setback. And he's only got one more year left anyway. So it seems to be pointless even acknowledging that is an option at the moment. It's pointless. Having said that, we should be beating Luton on Sunday. Arsenal got a tricky game. Tottenham got a tricky game. And Man City have got yet another easy game on paper. Probably not as easy as a game on paper as last week with Man United, but just as easy in terms of Bournemouth. So I think we should be at least catching one of Arsenal or both with Arsenal or Tottenham this weekend due to the fixtures coming up. And we've got Man City in a few weeks as well. We've got a couple of easy fixtures on paper and Man City coming up. So this weekend is absolutely crucial in terms of, putting a stance down and saying who is here for a title race and who is not here for a title race. Because it's okay, Tottenham and Arsenal being part of the title race right now, but when they get out of fixtures, are they going to be still in the title race then? We've played these out of fixtures. We're still in the title race, by the way. So it's coming up now to the point of the season where it's coming up December time and January time is the time where you're here or you're not. And we're going to see that this time. And Tottenham's got a point to prove. Arsenal have proved that they can do it. Liverpool proved that they can do it. It's now up to the teams themselves now to prove that they can do it again this season. That'll be all for tonight then, guys. Just a quick wrap-up of what's happened. Tonight, Inacio is going to be in a battle. Inacio's signature is a battle between Liverpool and Real Madrid. They're probably the team that we don't want to be battling against for any player anymore because I'm sick of Real Madrid coming in and taking our players. But that's the way it goes, and that's football. That's the way transfers go. January is the key one in terms of the signings. It could be André, it could be Inacio in January. They could be the difference between title challenging to title winning. And that's what Liverpool need to get these transfers right, if it is January or if it is the summer. Jurgen Klopp and Mohamed Salah nominated for the Player and the Manager of the Month awards for the Premier League. Once again, proving that they are the best of the best. West Ham in the Carabao Cup next round, quarterfinals. And pretty much the only teams left in the quarterfinals in terms of big teams are Liverpool, Chelsea and Newcastle. Sorry, guys, I do apologize. I do apologise for that, but yeah, Carabao Cup. It's talking about Carabao Cup, West Ham in the next round, but we will move on from that and we'll go on to the Premier League on Sunday. So Luton away on Sunday, hopefully an easy win, 3 points in the bag. Let's hope it's 1 point behind Man City on Sunday night, and then we'll go down to the December fixtures where it's title running and title winning charges are up for grabs. Thank you everyone for joining in tonight. Thank you Lou, thank you Tom, thank you Willem. I do apologise for the phone falling down, but that's the way it is. And I hope you all have a good night. You'll never walk alone, days.